Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
We are.
Hello. How are you?
Hello. Yeah. We are live.
Woohoo!
I love the intro. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I was bopping away.
So just checking everything's all in working order. So we're live streaming to LinkedIn, our Facebook group, and the Facebook page. So we've got 3 destinations going on at the same time, and there'll be more to come.
Yeah,
So-
and where you're watching us, you can also find us on the address that is just there. Dorien, you can point out.
Yeah. So everybody, let us know in the comments if you're watching this, where you're joining us from, or where you're seeing this live or the replay. So we want to know where you're watching this from. It's awesome. So guys, what are we talking about? Well, actually, we should probably introduce ourselves first. This is our first live. What do you think?
Yeah. Should we go first?
Yeah.
So I'm James Tucker,
I'm Agata Pawlak.
and we're Cruise Creative Media, and we are, as you can see on the screen, we're the co-founders for the Agile Marketing Network.
Yes. So we are a creative agency who is actually using Agile in our everyday life, in our own little agency. So this is why we came up with the idea to actually speak about this a little more.
So the truth is really out there. So we're only a 2-person agency, and we use Agile Marketing to run absolutely everything. Our internal businesses, our internal business operations, of course, because everyone has internal business operations, don't they? As well as our clients. So Cruise Creative Media is an agency, content creators, social media, management, strategy, with a number of big clients. And you can imagine there's a lot of moving parts, and we 100% use Agile, and we're going to share that with you.
Exactly. Dorien, take it away.
All right. So my name is Dorien Morin-van. I have been a freelancer with my company Morin Media for 10 years. Heard a lot about Agile in 2020, last year. Attended a 2-day Agile Marketing Conference and got certified and was completely blown away. And then I went home. And it was crickets. And I was like, okay, how do I implement all of this? I understand Agile. I understand how to use Agile, but I don't know how to be Agile. And that was a big distinction. So I kind of muttered through the summer and was talking to different people. How do you use it? How do you use it? Because I'm a team of 1. Well, team of 2 now because Emma's on my team. But I was trying to figure out how can I make this work? And then met James and met Agata, and realized they were using and implementing what I wanted to do. So we teamed up and said, if I'm out here struggling, I know other people are too. And so we formed the Agile Marketing Network, and we're super excited to bring this to content creators, small business owners, just like you, and those who work in small team of agencies of 2 or 3 or 4 people. How can you be Agile? How can you use it? And how can you produce content faster, better, more efficient, all of those things. And so I'm just so excited to share this with you. And we're going to go live often. We're going to teach you. There's all kinds of things coming, but this is our first live. We're going to talk about the 2 Agile principles. But before we do, Emma, take it away. Your turn.
Hi, I'm Emma. I'm the newbie. So I have recently been introduced to Agile, and I'm kind of the guinea pig. And it's been an amazing journey so far. I've discovered so much about Agile. I'm a team of 1 for my business, but also working with Dorien as well as a team of 2. I'm super excited to be joining the team, and I'm if you've never heard of Agile, I'm you. So I'll be answering those questions that you think are the silly questions, although no question is silly. And I'm here in the south of France, and we're all over the world here. So we're an international team, aren't we?
We are.
Yeah. So I'm in the south of France.
So south of France.
We are
Canary Islands on Tenerife.
And I'm in Vermont in the USA. So, and then we have 3 different nationalities too, which is super cool. So, I think that this kind of is a good example of how you could work together on remote teams, right? Virtual meetings. Everything we've done has been virtual. So I think that's super cool as well.
Oh, we had a comment from
Just a
LinkedIn
comment there from Jill.
Hello, Jill.
Hi, Jill.
Hi, Jill.
Hello, Jill from Atlantic Social. So the
Our
great
first comment.
the first comment, yeah.
All right. Yay, Jill. That's great.
So the great thing is actually just to point out here is because of, we're new. We only just did a soft launch last week. So, but what you don't see in the background is there's been a big build up as it is with a lot of projects. But we can say from doing where we started with a concept and an idea to where we are now and the journey to go beyond that as well. We've used an agile methodology and mindset to get where we are today. And there's still more to come. There's still a lot more in the pipeline, but it's all wrapped around that sort of agile methodology and framework to get everything delivered.
So what's agile, guys? So I'm gonna put Emma. I'm gonna put you on the spot right there.
So thank you very much.
So you're the guinea pig. You don't know anything about agile. You joined our team. You're starting to use agile methodologies. In your mind right now, if you had to go grab your neighbor who is running a business and said you need to know about agile, how would you explain it?
Okay, no pressure.
No pressure.
No pressure. I'd say it was a mindset. It's a way of thinking rather than approaching your day-to-day work in a set way. Agile is a way of reframing how your mind works when it comes to working. And it can be applied anywhere. It can be applied for work, but it also can be applied in life as well.
Yeah, I shared last week how I did an agile project with my family for Thanksgiving dinner, and that was really fun. Getting everybody involved and making them responsible for tasks, but really seeing how it all worked and how everybody just kind of jumped into line and how these tasks moved forward. And what it did for that project, and every project will have kind of a different feel to it, but that project basically was Thanksgiving dinner. The prep, the meal preparation, and setting the table as well as the cleanup, it took all the pressure and the stress off of me because we all shared in the workload. And I think that's something, even if you're a team of one, you work with clients, you work with contractors, you can't do everything your own. And even if you work with, say, a financial advisor, or you have an insurance agent, they can be part of your agile team, right? So by working together, you can really take that agile methodology and put it in all different places in your life. And there's people who are using it in parenting, which I'm interested in. I have 4 kids. I wish I'd known about this like 20 years ago, but I am using it to even do weekend projects. I know people who've used agile to plan for trips, what to wear, what to bring, and plan everything out. And, again, with a partner to make sure everything is going to fit in the suitcase and they have the right clothes for every outing. It's amazing what it can do. What about you two, Agata and James?
Well, I mean, if we have to define it, well, I'll define it because my background wasn't for such a long time agile like James's is. So I always call myself kind of like a convert because I used to work in a little bit different environment, and I was actually taught by James how to work in agile environment. So I'm somewhere in between you two and Emma. So for me, agile, what is the most important in it? You can say that it's a mindset, and we're going to say it 1,000 times. But it's a very specific mindset where you're very dynamic. Agile is very dynamic. So it helps you be dynamic and adapt to constantly changing environment. And that's why I think it works so well, for example, in our environment, in social media, or in any sort of content creation as well, as in everything, like you just said. By the way, I have to make a board for the house duties coming up next week. So definitely, I think that it makes you, it allows you switch gears. It allows you for a rapid change. It allows you to be less stressed in a very stressful environment because you have everything clear and out there. And also like make work in almost like little biteable pieces, which I love myself because it's not overwhelming. So that it is for me. What about you, Mr. Software?
For Mr. Software, I'll come on to that in a minute. For me, the big, and I guess this is the real buzzword here, it's an iterative approach to project management. You have to remember that Agile is a project methodology. My background a long time ago, when I was a software, not before I got into marketing, was software engineering. And the project methodology there at that time, and I'm talking about late 90s, early 2000, so you're still talking a while ago, was what was called a waterfall model. Waterfall model had a lot of issues. Obviously, you can imagine there's no iterative approach to that. You would come up with a requirements document, a specification document. I'm talking about software, but you could still apply this to marketing campaigns. You know, some marketing campaigns are still like that to this day. So you're talking about a lot of work before you actually do the doing, so to speak. So you could end up having a project 6 months, 12 months, doesn't allow you to have any turnaround. Most times towards the end of the project, you would be over time. They would run late. You know, if you were sort of saying, I'm going to do a 12 months project, it could be 2 years late, it could be completely massively over budget. And when Agile came about, certainly when I stepped into the Agile world through software engineering, was it allowed to actually release increments, iterative developments of 1 week, 2 weeks. If there was issues, it would allow you to turn around very, very quickly. It was also easy, which is one of the first points that we'll come on to, which basically around customer satisfaction. End customers didn't have to wait 6 to 12 months on a delivery. Now they wait 1 to 2 weeks to see some valuable piece of content delivery. And that for me is the big buzzword there, definitely, as I said before, is iterative.
All right, so let me just explain that there's an Agile manifesto that exists, and that's where a lot of this Agile methodology is based upon. There's 12 principles, and today we're going to talk about the first 2. So the first one, let me read it to you, is our highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. Now, in marketing, you would replace the word software with content. So our highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable content. Now, for me, the buzzword there is continuous delivery, right? Because content changes so fast. We all know things are trending in the world. You know, there might be a natural disaster, or celebrity might pass away, and people start sharing memories. And we all remember Bernie and his mittens, right, during the inauguration. So people that were able to make that switch and we're not stuck in this waterfall model of content creation could then go and be with their team and within 24 hours churn out these memes, these fantastic, but more than memes, these campaigns. I mean, people were selling things with Bernie and his mittens on him. And I saw some amazing campaigns, but that's an example of people who were not just using Agile, were being Agile, being able to implement that. So that's that first one. What do you think about, Emma? Because you're a content creator. I know you use Canva a lot. You work with clients. What would you, and let me just read it one more time so you can have your answer ready. Our highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable content.
Yes.
So what do you think?
Again, being put on the spot. I love you so much.
Yeah, I love you too, Emma. All right, we'll go to James. James, what do you think?
Well, I have thoughts as well.
Have you got that? Well, go on then. I'm putting a guy through.
Okay.
I'm like a teacher's puppet. I'll go.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so what I thought also about the fact that you have continuous delivery of content. I mean, to put it like down to earth, for example, in our example of an agency, in real life, the blockages happen, right? So in the different methods, for example, you don't get a piece of specific, I don't know, the picture, content, whatever from your client, and you're stuck and you cannot move on with your work at all. Because Agile works a little bit different, there's always something that you can do because your work is divided in, for example, in posts, right? You have 24 posts to deliver for the client. So even though you have blockage on one, you can still move on with the others. And that is how it started also, as you said, with software, that the whole project is not stopped. Your delivery for next month is not fully stopped. There's always something that you can do and move the stuff along, even though you might have a blockage in a completely different way. And this makes your work so much quicker. And it also makes, customers more satisfied, because even though, okay, your post for next Friday might not be ready, you have posts for 2 weeks on Monday or this Wednesday, and you have something already ready for Friday, because you can still move on with your work and with the stuff that can be done. And it's so visible to you. So I think that this thing that allows you to move this quickly, even though others would be stuck, this is something super great in Agile.
What she said.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's kind of along the lines. If I sort of take it from our own agency experience, there's always something valuable for the customer to deliver. Mm-hmm. There's constant, all the time. We can refine, we can backtrack. If something doesn't work, we see it, before it gets any worse. Especially, and again, it'll probably come. I mean, as we go along further with Agile Marketing Network, there'll be some real key buzzwords which we will help out and put together in blog posts. So here's a cue, sign up on our website, and you'll get notified of all the buzzwords. And when I'm talking about buzzwords, you'll hear stuff like Scrum, Sprint, Backlog, and so on. So I'm trying my very best to sort of refrain from those buzzwords at the minute. But certainly when we're doing, let's say we always commit to a week or 2 week sprints. And that's basically us having a commitment and a time box period where we're delivering content for our clients. If we see a problem, we can really quickly react and change direction. That's what it allows us to do, a week and 2 weeks. So from a client perspective, we've only lost a week or 2 weeks. If we went back to the old methodology of doing these long waterfall style project plans, we could lose potentially something like 6 to 12 months. So doing Agile, the benefit also is not to fall down that kind of rabbit hole and overspend on money and overpromise. The customer's happy as well. Might not be happy for the kind of short term, but the quick turnaround just allows everything to get back onto track very quickly.
So as a content creator using Agile in your business, and I'm just playing on that, and you have to deliver content to a customer, a client, right? And as a social media manager, you not only create it, but then you publish it, you schedule it and publish it. So what is something you can do? Say you work with outside vendors. You have a graphic designer you're supposed to meet with, or an SEO person who's supposed to deliver you keywords, or you have a video editor who's not on time or is always late. How would Agile help you with that? How would that work? James, I mean, I'm just putting you on the spot now, but
good question.
Because those are things that happen in real life to all the teams that we're on, right? You're not always the one in control. If you can run it as an agency, you are using Agile and you are being Agile. How can you then help those people that are on the team that you want to draw in? How can you use that methodology or this knowledge that you have to move forward with that content?
Here's another buzzword I think I mentioned before. Agile or project. You're talking about delivery. They're all delivery mechanisms. Whether you are using a waterfall or traditional project methodologies, and Agile is just one of those. The one thing I always would stipulate is because you're doing fast releases in a short amount of time, the sort of buzzword there is you're really wanting to release value. So especially from a cruise creative point of view, our sort of ethos really in the background is we want to always sort of see ourselves delivering a really high quality piece of work. So whether it's graphics, video, infographic, photos, you name it, we always strive to be that high quality. If that high quality isn't there, for example, what you mentioned before, SEO writer, copywriter isn't available at all. Again, with the Agile, because you've fallen down that rabbit hole because you have actually lined up. And I'm gonna say another key word here. So bear with me because it's an agile terminology and it's called the backlog. So for any of you who've just picked this up now and you're completely brand new to agile, I promise you we will send you out a glossary of all these terminologies. Put it on the list, Dorien, and we'll send that out next week in terms of the terminologies. But
I'll put it on the backlog.
put it on there. Actually, good point. Actually, put it on the backlog, and we'll put a blog out next week. So what we can do is, again, we've hit a problem there. You know, we've tried to do a little bit of negotiation. It's not working out. Blah blah blah. So we can basically quickly change direction, and we can go to that backlog and we can refine the backlog and see what's a valuable piece of content. Keep meaning to sort of say I'm trying to get out of the software world, but content, change direction and make that a valuable piece of content to deliver for that customer.
And if I can add something to it as well, I think that everything that you said is absolutely right, but also there's something about Agile that makes you take more ownership about what you do, because you actually assign the tasks, or people can assign the tasks to themselves. So there is a feeling of better ownership in the team. So, and also, not going to all the buzzwords and everything, you're going to have your stand-up meetings, whatever. So basically, you're going to be called out if you didn't deliver the piece of content or piece of work that you were supposed to deliver. And everyone has an oversight over it. And it sounds scary, but it actually helps you organize your work. So if you see straight away, you go into either your tool or you just think about it, right? You know what is assigned to you. You know which pieces you're supposed to deliver. And it also helps with the quality control, because you might have a process that is also going to help with quality control. So not only people have ownership of their own tasks, they usually, when they have ownership, they sometimes even pick more tasks because they see what there is there to do and what they can do to complete the project. Everything is delivered quicker and you have better quality control.
And also what you got to kind of think as well, which is a good point with Dorien, is to come up with all these scenarios of issues and problems, but you know, projects just alone, never go 100% to plan. But with Agile, that's one of the great things that we can do with it, is because of that iterative incremental of delivery of content, we can quickly change direction if there is an issue or if there is a problem.
Well, one of the examples I want to use is, say you hear a client say, I love red. And you create a whole series, a campaign, and you use the color red as the main color, right? So you go to tell the video editor that, and you make a wonderful StreamYard opening scene in red, and you get this whole podcast. Say it's a podcast design, and then you show it to him 2 weeks later or her 3 weeks later, and they're like, "Well, I don't like that color red." Think about all the time you have wasted instead of going to the client the next day and said, "I heard you say red. This is the first part. We're going to pick the color red. Is this the right color?" Now, once you've done that makes that big task a small task. You get approval, you can move forward. So that's kind of where these daily meetings, the Agile methodology comes in. And I think that's especially in content creation, where we take a lot of creative liberties. Working closer with clients through this Agile, I think, is going to be super, super helpful to all of us.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
Just in regards to it, it's just basically to build up on your point that you just mentioned there. So of course, we use an Agile methodology, and we've got the tools. I know we're not kind of doing tool reviews or anything like that, but of course, everybody's going to use a form of digital tool. We then apply an Agile methodology on those tools to run the project. I think the biggest plus to us, and what these tools do help, as well as the methodology on top as well, is we get the clients on board right from the very beginning. So clients are involved in the overall process. So again, if you think back to, old style projects, the waterfall model, sometimes a client could feel like they're in and out of the whole process. With Agile, they're completely 100% on board right from the start and right on to the finish. So things like, up from, brand strategy, which would initially be, you would expect to be at the beginning of a project, that's captured. And also that client, as well as yourself, which again we'll come on to when we describe the processes of Agile, in more depth is they're on board and they've got ownership of it straight away. So we find, I'm not saying there's never any issues, because again, there's always issues with projects. That's why we use these methodologies. But it captures it at an early stage. So again, with Agile, get that client on board. They're part of your, the main thing is they're part of your team.
All right, so I think we have a couple minutes left. I want to go to principle 2 because I think this one is important as well. So I'm going to read this to everybody. So principle 1 we just read. Principle 2 is welcome changing requirements even late in development. Agile processes harness change for the customer's competitive advantage. So even late in the development, we harness change for the customer's competitive advantage. And I think especially in social media, this is huge. Taking advantage of last minute changes and trending topics and things that are going on in the world. In the green room, I was saying, I don't know what, I think it might've been the Grammys where Pharrell Williams was singing and he had this big cowboy hat on, and Arby's, social media manager went on Twitter and tweeted something about, hey, you're using our hat, because it looked like an Arby's hat, and it was fantastic. But first of all, he had the team behind him. He had the creative liberties to go ahead and send that tweet. He didn't get to have, 5 levels of approval. He was able to do that. There was trust. There was obviously a voice. There was all that stuff in place for him to jump on it, and to also understand that he or she might have scheduled a different type of tweet for that night, or maybe none. But by being and seeing that, being able to shift that really, really quickly and become part of the conversation in social media is really important. So this principle, to me, speaks really very much to social media and how we lean into trends, good or bad. What's happening in the world and world happenings, natural disasters, and good things as well.
Absolutely, I would completely agree with that, because yeah, as you said, jumping on a trend sometimes is very, very important, just to harness what is already there, pretty much. And social media, like we said already, we went on 4 tangents on it already, how important it is to adapt to a change, and especially in our environment when, either something happens or there is something that we can actually use for the advantage of our clients. And I think it is like that actually in many, many businesses. So it's not only social media. I mean, there are, new features coming up. There is maybe something else that you can highlight. And it's very important to be agile again, not to just
use it.
Use it,
Yeah.
Use agile.
Plus, it's also really, it's a perfect time to start using this, agile methodology and the framework and so on. We live in a really fast-paced world now, fast-paced technology, fast-paced news, of course, at the minute, with the pandemic and so on, things are just so fast, and you've got to change and adapt to it very quickly. And certainly for our case, I'm probably just thinking at the top of my head without really going into the sort of data of it. We're probably, we come up with a constant plan every week, which again, we run we come up and we have a plan basically of increments of a week or 2 weeks in terms of delivering content. That's what we plan and adhere to. So when we're doing our planning, we say, right, this is the A, B's and C's of what we're doing in terms of content delivery for that week and 2 weeks. And I can guarantee you it changes every week as we start it. So the framework in itself allows us to adapt. I know it's still very high level, but we'll get into the sort of details of that further along the line. But certainly it's never too plan. Yeah. It's never too plan. It's about kind of like maybe an 80-90. I mean, it could be sometimes worse than that. But we're always having to adapt and change to our delivery of content.
But what I love about it is what I said before as well. You're never stuck. I remember, working in the different environments. There is always this moment when it's like, oh, this person didn't fulfill this, and now we have to wait 4 days. And I'm going to be stressed when they will fix that thing, because then I have to do 200%, of my work. But that never happens. And with Agile, because you can, swap stuff from, I'm not going to use the word backlog. No, let's not go.
I love that too. Yeah, no, I think being able to understand that last minute changes can be beneficial, and to understand, and with that comes trusting your team, right? Because you can't just go into a meeting and say, hey, we worked on this for 4 days and we're now deciding we're going to go a little bit of a different direction. We're going to insert this person in this marketing campaign, or we're going to take this product off, or we want to insert something last minute. You have to understand that if that's what your customer wants and that's what's needed, then you need to be flexible. And I think that the bigger the team, the more of a challenge that is. So that's why I think Agile up to now has been used in bigger teams. It's a methodology that works well when there's, a team of 6 in marketing and a team of 5 in sales and a team of 10 in product development. And those teams then use Agile methodology amongst themselves, but then also to interact. Now, when you're a smaller team, it's easier to make those changes. But in a larger team before Agile, everybody kind of works in those silos. Right? You work in your team and you do your little thing and you work in your team, but Agile allows you to have that inter-team conversation and to understand why those changes are needed, and then being able to make those changes by speaking on a daily basis or a weekly basis with those other teams. So I think that's another very distinct, difference.
Absolutely.
No, definitely. Again, it kind of, I know somebody who ran, they used Agile to plan their wedding.
Mm-hmm.
That's
a good one.
Yeah, when it was doing software engineering. Well, if you think about it, you kind of, no, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to leave it to another time, because again, it's dropping like terminology words. But a wedding's an epic, isn't it? Well, it's an epic event. Right?
Yeah.
So you think about sort of like a wedding to organize, and just the thought of it, it's an absolutely epic event that I need to plan. So I actually knew somebody who used Agile to break it all down, put it into stories, to break it into tasks, like ordering the cake, ordering the wedding dress, all the things that go into it. And they used Agile. And for me, I'm not saying I used it for a wedding or anything like that, but I used it for Cruise Creative. And it was by mistake, really. No, not by mistake, but because in my frame of mind, it was only something that I was used to in terms of applying to software development and software engineering. I actually sat and thought, could we actually use that at the very, very early stages of Cruise Creative Media? And we've been going for just 2 years now. And I was thinking, how do we manage projects? How do we manage one client project, 2 client projects, 3, 4, 5, our own internal workings, our own content creation for Cruise Creative, the business side, and the boring business side. How do we keep a track of everything? And I was like thinking, could you use Agile? I was like, I can't see why not. Even before I knew it was kind of a buzzword within Agile. It was a buzzword within marketing. And I was like, yeah, of course you can do. Why?
But you know what, James? Yeah. What people are searching for when they have that issue, when they're going from 1 client to 2 clients to 3 clients, they're looking for the wrong thing. Guess what they're looking for? Tools. They're looking for tools. They're thinking the tool's going to be the answer to this issue of how to manage all these clients. That's what everybody asks us. What tool do you use? Right, Emma? Yeah. So I believe me, I have been in business for 9 years and I had used a lot of different tools. And even now, I was asked this question today, what tool do you use? And as a team, I'm happy to say we use Notion, but I'm on other people's teams and I use Aura and Monday and Airtable and Slack and ClickUp, and I use all those other. It's not the tool.
No, it's true. I could actually, it's completely, and it's like, we've got a solid methodology in place, or a framework in place that we adhere to. Yeah, there's always some problems that we have to iron out and refine. So, and that again, that's just part of Agile, which allows you to do that. But for me, I could rip those tools out. Right. So the tool that I'm using today, I could completely rip out. Guess what I could do? I could actually go back to a post-it note on a board, and the methodology that we have, and the framework that we have in place. I can't remember where it's that. And I could just use it.
Right.
You know, because our methodology is in place, the framework's in place, the tool I could swap in something else, and it would still work.
Can I just say a very quick story? I know we're over time, but very quick story when we started working together, and I did not know anything about Agile. I didn't know, and I'm like, "What you going on about this Notion and these tools that I'm supposed to do? I don't have time. I'm busy doing work. You know, I don't have time to put everything on the tool." And it took me a while to actually understand that saves me so much time. But I was very much like that. Like at the beginning, I was like, okay, this tool, what does this tool do? And I didn't get it. It took a while, but now I want to do everything Agile because it just, for me, is my brain is happy when I do everything Agile.
You know what happened? I love that you just said that. It clears up your headspace. It opens you by using Agile methodology. It clears your head and it puts it in a place that you can still manage, but it's there when you need it, right? I can tell you, I used to go to bed at night, watch TV, and have my phone next to my nightstand and go, oh shoot, I forgot to do this today for my client. I would send myself texts that I would read in the morning, or an email, or a to-do list. I had a paper. I had all these different things. Since I've been using Agile methodology for my business, I don't leave my desk until my head is empty. Until that is done and they're all tasks, they're in a tool or they're on a Post-it note in my case. And so then I know tomorrow what I'm going to do. And then tomorrow when I look at my task, I'm going to put them in the order of importance, and then I can get to work. So I don't have that anymore. It frees up my headspace, which gives me a much healthier environment, a happier person. The stress level is way down. So that really is what this is all about. Now, before we go, I want to tell everybody there's 12 principles of the Agile Manifesto. There's also 7 Agile marketing principles. So this is going to be a continuous series that will be live. We'll be talking about all these different principles as well as the Agile marketing principles. And really, these are the foundation of what Agile is all about. So we're going to take bits and pieces. The cool part about Agile is that it's not, again, there's different methodologies. You might hear us say Scrum, and then somebody else say Kanban, but there's also a thing called Scrumban or Conscrum. So people just mix and match methodologies. And so we're actually hoping to come up with our own framework for small teams, because it's borrowing things from different methodologies and making it our own as a team. So we're super excited that you were here with us today. If you were live, thank you. And if you watch us on the replay, let us know that you did and where you watched us from, because we'd love to know that. And we'll be back soon. And we're just excited. We use this in our business, and we're going to help you use it as well. So where can they join us if they're not watching this in our group?
Exactly. First of all, you can go to agilemarketingnetwork.com. This is the first place that you can find it. But we actually also have social media where you can start following us on. So you can follow us on Instagram, you can follow us on Facebook, and you can follow us on LinkedIn. So everywhere we're showing as Agile Marketing Network. So make sure that you go and follow us. Jill is saying thank you, Jill, for joining us today. And yeah, we will be back next week. That is for sure.
Covering 3 and 4.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say, as a newbie, if you're following along and you're getting lost, don't worry, there will be lots of light bulb moments along the journey. And if you're not getting it right now, you will do. Just stick with us.
And also, don't forget to sign up on the website, because we will promise you that we'll drop in there the terminology of Agile. We'll do an A to Z of all the terminologies.
Yeah, exactly.
As well as the principles. So
yes, we're going to be,
and it'll be in the Facebook group as well.
Yeah, we just want to make sure that just like, the foundation is really solid before you start practicing and using Agile and being Agile, is that you have to really understand what it stands for. So that's why we're starting with the principles. And if you have any questions, let us know, tag us. We're all active on social media. We'd love to know what your questions are, what we can answer, and what you want to learn more about right now. And what are your pain points in your business? How can Agile maybe help you solve those?
Excellent.
Exactly. So see you soon, guys. See you
Bye.
soon.
Bye, everybody.
Guys.